Howdy y'all, it's Megan. So this week, as you can tell, I'm still in the same clothes as my last video. I'm filming 2 videos at once just so I could knock them out. I will be telling y'all about my tattoos and piercings and my experience and pain level and all of that, just for information on if y'all want to get them, if you want to do them, because some of mine are homemade, and different things like that. So I think I'm going to start with piercings just because that's what I got first. So what I got first was my nose. So I'm going to zoom in. You can see I have a little hoop in it right now, but studs look great too. I actually have gotten my nose done twice. So at first I got it done on this side, but I do still have a scar on this side. When I got my nose pierced the first time, the day I turned 18, I told my best friend, said I have to go get my nose done. I've been wanting my nose pierced since I was 16 years old. And so we went to the cheapest, closest piercing shop, which, big mistake. Please do your research. Every time you go to get a new piercing, tattoo, anything, do your research. Look up the tattoo artist if you're getting a tattoo. Make sure that there's piercing ratings on their Yelp or Google page, because if you do not, you will go to a bad one and it will show. So I got my nose done, and when she pierced it, it didn't hurt very bad. I teared up a little bit, which is normal, and it was fine. Like, I was like, oh, this is good. But then she tried to put the jewelry in. I don't know if she was a new piercing artist or if she just didn't pierce my nose right and just didn't care and just tried to keep going. She was trying to force the jewelry into my nose, and it hurt so bad. And she was like digging, trying to get that jewelry into my nose. And I actually had blood running down my face from it, which this hurt really, really bad. And I started getting queasy from, because it was going on for minutes. Like, she was trying to put this jewelry in for at least 3 minutes. Finally, she took it out and bent it to try to like fit my nose better, apparently. And that my nose wasn't meant for this kind of jewelry. And I was like, well, if it's not meant for that kind of jewelry, why are you putting it in my nose? And so she bent it to fit my nose, and she finally got it in, and I loved how it looked. It was a little bit red and irritated, but I loved how it looked, so I left it in. And then about 2 weeks later, it got super, super infected. Super infected, had a keloid on it, would not stop bleeding. And I finally just took it out because I was like, I don't care how cute this is. It is hurting. It is infected. It is not doing well for me. So I took it out, and I went to a different piercing studio in a new town that I was actually living in. I moved from Austin to College Station for college. I went to a new tattoo shop, which had a 4.8 rating, which I looked up the tattoo shop that I actually went to in Austin, and it only had a 2.4 rating. So should have looked that up, but being brand new to piercings and tattoos and young and naive and just wanting to get it for cheap, $20, I just did whatever one was closest. I learned my lesson, and I went to one that was rated very, very highly. And I went in there, and they were way more sterile and professional. Everything was sealed. Everything was nice. It was great. And I got it pierced, and it healed in practically 2 to 3 weeks. It was already healed. I put new jewelry in it. I put a hoop in because that's what I like to wear. I like to wear hoops. And they pierced it with a stud like they always do. Most places will pierce your nose with a stud. So if you are going to get a nose piercing, unless you specifically ask for a hoop, they will usually pierce you with a stud. So I did get a stud, and that piercing was great. Never got infected. Healed on its own. I barely even cleaned it, honestly, because cleaning it made it more raw than just leaving it natural. And after like 2 to 3 weeks, it healed perfectly. So after that piercing experience, I got super hooked on them. And literally less than a month later, I went and got my industrial done. Well, I had been wanting my industrial done. I'll give you a close-up. So this is my industrial. It's just a plain silver one right now. I have different ones, but that's it. So after I got my nose and it healed properly and I got addicted, I went and did my industrial. I was super scared because I had heard that this is one of the most painful piercings, which I will tell you now, if you want your industrial, if you're going to get your industrial, it is painful. I have a super, super, super high pain tolerance where literally all of my piercings I would do again in a heartbeat, didn't have any problem, but my industrial was awful. It wasn't so much the outside, like this one out here, it was this inside one. And they told me that. They told me that the outside one would be fine. They did that first, and then they did the inside one. When they did the outside one, I was like, oh, that's nothing. Did that inside one? Beach, let me tell you, that hurt so bad. So bad. I legit almost cried. That's how bad it hurt, and it made my head feel a little bit dizzy. But I love how it looks. I would never take it out, honestly. I think it's a great piece, very easy to dress up, dress down, makes you look a little edgy, but not really, and it's very easy to hide with hair. So unless you have really short hair or something like that, you can hide it very, very easily. Like, I mean, you can't even tell that I have it, but then if I pull my hair back, you're like, oh, she's got a little something. So that was my second piercing, other than I do have like my one hole down here. That was my technical first piercing because I got that when I was like 3 or 4 months old when your parents like took you after you were cleared by your doctors. So, I mean, those are technically my first piercings. Don't remember those, so I can't really tell you about the pain level of those. So I'm really just speaking on the pain level and my experience and mine. So back to the industrial. I will tell you, it was the worst piercing at healing as well. So not only is it an awful piercing to get done, it took almost 18 months to heal properly. And sometimes it still gives me issues if I sleep on it wrong or hit it really hard or something. It'll still give me issues. So, and I've had it since August of 2015. About 6 months after I got my industrial. So my industrial had healed pretty well, but was still a little bit tender to the touch. So I was like, you know what? I won't mind having another one on this other ear. So my next piercing that I got was actually my tragus. So this piercing right here, this little diamond stud. That was my next piercing that I had got. Same place that I got my industrial. Almost every single piercing since the first place that messed me up, I've gone to the same place that I've gotten the second piercing for, except for one. And I'll explain that story because that's a fun one. My tragus literally felt like somebody pinched my ear. It did not hurt at all. It healed almost in a week. It was a super, super, super easy piercing. So unless you were super sensitive to needles and like pain, it was almost the easiest piercing I think I've gotten. Definitely recommend it for sure. If you like little small dainty things in your ear to like dress it up and it's not like bulky like the industrial and stuff like that, I definitely recommend the tragus. My next piercing is my daith. So there's this black hoop in here. That is my daith that I got done. Well, my friend, I went to Austin to visit my friend and my family, and she was like, I want to go get her rook done or something. And I was like, you know what, I'll get it too. Why not? Like, I love piercings. I haven't had one in probably about 6 or 7 months, and I was like, I'm due for a new one. All of my other ones have pretty much healed. Like, let's go for it. And we got there, and the piercer actually took a look, and they told me that my rook wasn't as defined as my friend's, and that they recommended for me to do my daith instead, because it almost has the same look, and it does like the same thing, because the rook is supposed to like help with headaches and stuff, and they say the daith does the same thing. So I was like, sure, let's do the daith instead then if you think it's a better option. So that was great. Obviously, I went to a great tattoo shop that had piercers that knew what they were talking about. So it was nice that they told me to go with something else other than what I wanted based on how my ear looked. So I got that. That one was a little bit painful. Definitely more painful than the tragus, but nowhere near the industrial. Just because it was thicker cartilage, but it was not unbearable. It definitely was painful, but not unbearable pain. And it did heal pretty fast. I had a couple issues with it about 3 weeks in. I had issues with it like getting crusty almost, so I had to clean it a lot more than normal. I was cleaning it like 4 or 5 times a day when usually I only cleaned my piercings 1 or 2 times a day. But after about 6 weeks. It was totally healed, had no issues with it. I have no issues with it now. Just because it's inside my ear, you don't really lay on it wrong. It doesn't get moved very often. It's a very, very nice one to hide in your ear if you want to get some ear jewelry that you can't really see and it's just for you. It's a great option for that. My next piercing was my tongue. So, I was actually at work one day and one of my really good friends, Colin, was at work with me, and one of our coworkers asked him, what are the odds you let me pierce your nose? And I don't know if you've ever played the game, what are the odds? It's where you choose a number between 1 and 10, and then y'all both count down from 3 and say a number in between the number that they chose. And if you get the same number, you have to do the thing that you were asked. What are the odds you would do then? So she's like, what are the odds you'd let me pierce your nose? And he said like 6. And I think they both picked 3. And so she was like, oh my God, you have to let me do it. But I talked them into actually going to a tattoo shop because I said it is not safe for you to actually pierce his nose. So let's go to a tattoo shop and I'll go with y'all and I'll actually get a piercing as well because I've been wanting one. So why not? Because I had been wanting my tongue, but I was super scared because I thought it was going to hurt really, really bad. Because, you know, I thought it was going to feel like you biting your tongue and that hurts so bad. So I was like, oh, I'm so scared, but I just did it. I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, we're going, it's happening. I'm just going to do it. So we got there and I did it and I paid, and there's no refunds at this shop, which is at most shops. You have to pay cash and there's no refunds. So prepare for that. If you back out at the last second, you're not getting your money back. So I got there, I had already paid and I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I've already paid. It's happening. And they did it. And it literally did not feel like anything. It felt like maybe somebody was pinching my tongue, but that was it. Like the piercing of it was super, super, super easy. The healing, on the other hand, you talk funny for a good 3 to 4 days. Your tongue is super swollen. It's hard to eat because you don't realize how much you use your tongue and like how you use it until you put something in it. And so eating was super hard. I kept biting my tongue. Talking was super hard. My tongue was super swollen. It hurt and throbbed, but it did go down in about 3 days. It only was swollen for about 3 days, and I started getting the hang of eating and talking after about 3 to 4 days. And then after that, the healing process was super, super easy. Because the thing about the tongue is you don't really have to clean it. You just have to watch it and like brush it with like your toothbrush every time you brush your teeth. Which I already brushed my tongue anyway. So that wasn't like an add-on cleaning like most other piercings. Just because it's in your mouth, it already has like the healing aspect of how your tongue heals itself. And so it heals really, really fast. Like my tongue was healed in a week flat. Like it had no issues after a week. So if you're looking for a fun face piercing, do the tongue. Oh, I totally forgot. Before that, I got my eyebrow done. So I went out with my friend one night and we got drunk and passed a tattoo shop in Austin. And I looked up the rating before we did it, even drunk. I was like, no, I've done this before. I have to look up the rating. And I looked it up and they had a 4.5, so pretty high. A lot of people were in there. And I went in there and I got it done. And then I woke up and I remembered it. And it actually was a super easy piercing. I don't really remember how it felt. My friends say that I did not react when I got it done. So if that's any indication, but I do remember the healing process was super easy just because it's a very fatty part of like your face. And there's no like cartilage. It was a super easy heal. And I really have no issues with it to this day. Like I've had it for probably a year now, year and a half almost. And I've literally never had any issues with it ever. So I definitely, if you like face jewelry and you like the look of face jewelry, I definitely recommend it. And that brings me to my last piercing that I have to this day. I actually got it in August of 2018. So that was my most recent piercing. And I actually got it on a cruise in Mexico. I know, crazy. I went on a 7-day cruise and the last stop was in Mexico. And one of the girls that I had met on the cruise really wanted her industrial done. And I had told her about it, and like she saw that I had one and was like, oh my God, I really wanted that for so long. How did it feel? And I told her everything, and I was like, it hurt really bad, but if you really want it, it is worth it. Well, she was like, well, when we go to Mexico, maybe we can get our piercings done because you can get them really cheap there, which is very true. You can get them. I think she got her industrial for $20, which in America I paid $40, so that's definitely cheaper. I paid $15 for I actually got my, it was a conch, but I turned it into an orbital. So when they pierced it through my ear, they just put a stud, which is called a conch. And then I switched the jewelry to a hoop, which is called an orbital. So we got super drunk. We went to an all-you-can-drink buffet where you pay $40 and you can drink as much as you want. And we drank for like 6 hours straight. And I literally barely remember getting back on the boat. So we decided to go. And luckily her mom was very sober. Her mom did not drink a lick. And she was actually taking care of us pretty much. And she took us and she talked to them, and like we talked to them, and we got it done. And hers did hurt. She definitely screamed. I saw a video of me getting it done, and I literally had a straight face the whole time. I do slightly remember it, and I do remember it being painful, but more of like a stinging pain than like a blunt force pain. I don't know how to describe it. And the healing was a little bit tricky as well. It was almost like my industrial, where it was a longer process. I mean, you could see that it's fully healed now, and it's only been like 6 months. Not even, like about exactly 6 months. So definitely faster healing, but it did give me issues a lot for the first like 2 months. So that is all my piercings. I do plan on getting more. I definitely want to get my second hole done. I want to get my rook over here, even though I was told that this one was too undefined. Still kind of want to get it done just because I like the look of it. Definitely want to get way more piercings on my ears because I love the way piercings look on ears. So now I'm going to go to tattoos. So we'll start with my first tattoo. So this actually goes with my first nose piercing that was on this side. So I went in, it was my exact birthday. So obviously they looked at my ID and saw that it was my exact birthday. And I told them I just wanted a nose piercing. And as you know, the tattoo shop was not very good. So they had nobody in their store. It was like early in the morning. It was like 10 a.m. or something. So pretty early in the morning. And they were like, does anybody want a tattoo? And I was like, me, I want a tattoo. And they were like, well, if you pick a small tattoo, we'll give it to you for free for your birthday. So I was like, heck yeah. Obviously, I'm going to get a free tattoo, like whatever. And now looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have, just because it was not a great place. But luckily, it turned out decent, and I'm not upset with it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. It is an infinity sign with an anchor on my foot, or like ankle area, and it says love life on it. It is a little small, so the love life is not very defined, which is my one complaint about this tattoo. I got it on a whim. It was free. It was on one of their little things, and I thought it was good. I'm like, I'll be grounded forever, and like it'll teach me to love my life. Obviously, I just chose something that I thought was cute. So I got that done on my 18th birthday. The funny thing is I had already gone into a tattoo shop that my mom had gone to earlier, 2 years before I turned 18, and she had gotten a tattoo by him, and we had already gone in and planned my first tattoo with him, and my mom and I were going to go and get tattoos together. So I had already planned tattoos, but he wasn't available till the 28th of June, and my birthday was on the 13th. So I had already had a tattoo planned for the 28th, got one on the 13th, then I went in on the 28th and got my second tattoo. So I got 2 tattoos in less than a month. I know that's crazy. So my second tattoo, it is actually a dedication to my dad. It is a barbed wire cross. Me and my dad always went hunting. He was very country, only listened to country. So I felt barbed wire was very fitting. There's a sun behind it. It shows just like the light and like him being the light that I try to embody every single day and live up to every single day. And then it has a banner that says Daddy, obviously. So that's just because he was my dad. So that was my second tattoo. So I didn't do tattoos for a while. That was my 18th birthday, and then like 2 weeks later, I got a tattoo, and then I stopped for about 2 years. Then on my 20th birthday, I was eating at Torchy's in Austin with my friends, and one of my friends, Chris, was just like, why don't we go get tattoos? And me, being the crazy person that loves tattoos and piercings, was like, yes, let's do it. It's my birthday. I decide we're doing it. So my best friend Sam was like, I'll get one with you. And we actually got matching tattoos. It is an elephant. We almost went with a lotus flower, but we both wanted elephant tattoos at some point in our life. And elephants are very loving, caring creatures. They actually only mate with one mate their whole life. And when their mate dies, they usually die of heartbreak. So me and my friend thought it was very fitting for our relationship to have an elephant symbolize it, just because we are very caring and loving, and we have been through so much together that we chose that. It's just a little outline, very simple, but I love it. And then my next tattoos were home done. So my first home done tattoo, me and my friend Colin were just chilling with my friend Maddie, and he gave me, it's backwards right now, maybe I'll insert a picture. It's a 13. Like I said in my previous video, I was born on a Friday the 13th. I really love the number 13. It's my favorite number. It's always been on my jerseys for any kind of sport I've been in since I was 4 or 5 years old. It's my jersey number if possible. It's always been lucky to me. Like anytime I was in a situation with 13 near me, I've always done good or well. It is just my lucky number, and I would pick it for anything, even though people say it's unlucky. I love that number, and so I thought it would be fitting to get one on my body. Then the next one, we were just chilling again, and I got a little drunk, and I just wanted a tattoo. I was just like itching for it. So he gave me this. It's a little cross. I am very spiritual and very faithful. And I thought that a cross with me pointing up, which is a very simple tattoo that I know a lot of people have, but I thought it was easy to do at home and I would love it. And so I got that done. And it's just to remind me to always look to him and to always be faithful even when I don't want to be. So that's why I did that one. And that is all of my tattoos. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope it helps some of y'all in your tattoo and piercing journeys. Hopefully y'all can learn from some of my mistakes and successes in the tattoo and piercing world. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, tell your friends. I will be doing weekly videos, maybe twice a week uploading in the next few weeks. So please give me feedback, comment down below if you liked what I'm talking about, if you have suggestions for me to talk about, anything. I will literally film almost anything. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace. Hashtag deuces. I'm out.